Hello. My name is Harrison Mayuku. And you are welcome to Story World. The bustling cityscape sprawled beneath Stanley's penthouse window, the lights twinkling like stars against the darkening sky. Despite the grandeur and opulence of his surroundings, a deep sense of emptiness gnawed at him. The world saw him as a powerful, influential billionaire, but inside, he felt profoundly alone. Stanley's thoughts drifted to the many relationships he had endured, each one ending in heartbreak. The women he had dated were drawn to his wealth and status, but when the facade was stripped away, there was no genuine connection. His heart had been broken too many times, leaving him disillusioned and longing for something real. One sleepless night, as he sat in his lavish living room, Stanley made a radical decision. He would leave behind his life of luxury and disguise himself as a homeless man. He hoped that by doing so, he could find someone who loved him for who he truly was, not for his money. The idea seemed outrageous, but it was the only way he could think of to find true love. Stanley spent weeks preparing for his transformation. He studied the habits and appearances of the homeless, learning how to blend in. He grew a scraggly beard, let his hair become unkempt, and acquired worn-out clothes from thrift stores. He created a new identity, a man named Jack, who had lost everything. Leaving behind his penthouse and notifying only his trusted assistant, Stanley stepped into the streets as Jack. The first night was a harsh awakening. The cold bit through his thin layers, and the hard ground offered no comfort. His resolve was tested, but he pushed through, determined to see this through. As Jack, Stanley wandered the city, blending into the shadows. The world he once dominated now seemed foreign and hostile. He felt the sting of judgmental glances and the weight of invisibility. His heart ached for the people who lived this way every day, unseen and unheard. One rainy afternoon, as he huddled in an alley for shelter, a young woman approached him. Her name was Sarah. She had kind eyes and a warm smile, despite the weariness etched on her face. She offered him half of her sandwich, a simple gesture that warmed Stanley's heart more than any lavish gift ever had. "Thank you," he murmured, accepting the food. Sarah sat beside him, her voice gentle and compassionate. "No one should go hungry." "What's your name?" "Jack," Stanley replied, using his alias. "Just Jack." They talked for hours, and Stanley learned about Sarah's struggles. She was a struggling artist, working multiple jobs to make ends meet while pursuing her dream. Her kindness and resilience touched Stanley deeply. Despite her own hardships, she had a heart full of empathy and generosity. Days turned into weeks, and Stanley's bond with Sarah grew stronger. She would bring him food, blankets, and, most importantly, companionship. They would sit and talk for hours, sharing their dreams, fears, and life stories. Stanley found himself captivated by Sarah's spirit and sincerity. In return, Stanley started to repay the kindness he received in small ways. He used his hidden resources to buy meals for those who had shared with him. He found temporary shelters and discreetly provided funds to those in desperate need. He helped a homeless veteran named John find a job and arranged for his temporary housing. Despite the challenges and dangers of living on the streets, Stanley felt a sense of purpose and connection he had never experienced before. He observed the kindness and cruelty of strangers, the small acts of compassion that made a world of difference. And through it all, Sarah remained his anchor. Sarah's art was her passion, but it was also her struggle. She dreamed of having her work displayed in galleries, of making a living from her creations. Stanley admired her talent and dedication, and he wanted to help her achieve her dream. But he knew he had to be careful. Revealing his true identity too soon could jeopardize everything. One night, as they sat under the stars, Sarah shared a particularly difficult day. Her landlord had threatened to evict her over a rent dispute, and she didn't know how she would make it through the month. Stanley's heart ached for her. He wanted to swoop in and solve all her problems, but he knew he had to be patient. "Don't worry, Sarah," he said softly. "Things will get better. You have a good heart, and good things come to those who are kind." Sarah smiled weakly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I hope you're right, Jack." As weeks turned into months, Stanley and Sarah's relationship deepened. They shared their hopes and dreams, their fears and insecurities. Stanley found himself falling in love with Sarah, captivated by her genuine kindness and spirit. He longed to reveal his true identity, to show her the extent of his love and commitment. But he hesitated, fearing it would ruin everything. The crisis with Sarah's landlord reached a breaking point. Stanley knew he couldn't stand by and watch her suffer. He decided to intervene in a major way, risking his secret. In a heartfelt conversation, Stanley revealed his true identity to Sarah. "Sarah, there's something I need to tell you," he began, his voice trembling. "I'm not who you think I am. My real name is Stanley, and I'm not homeless. I'm actually a billionaire." Sarah's eyes widened in shock, her mouth opening and closing in disbelief. "What? Stanley, are you serious?" Stanley nodded, his heart pounding. "I disguised myself as a homeless man because I wanted to find someone who would love me for who I am, not for my money. And I found that in you, Sarah. Your kindness and compassion have touched me deeply. I want to help you, to support you in achieving your dreams." Tears streamed down Sarah's face as she processed Stanley's revelation. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "I never imagined." Stanley took her hands in his gaze unwavering. "I love you, Sarah. And I want to be with you, not as a billionaire, but as the man who fell in love with your beautiful soul." Sarah's initial shock gave way to acceptance. She saw the sincerity in Stanley's eyes, the love and vulnerability he had hidden beneath his disguise. "I love you too, Stanley," she said softly. "But this is a lot to take in." "I know," Stanley replied gently. "Take all the time you need. I'm here for you, and I want to support you in any way I can." With Stanley's resources, Sarah's life began to change. He secured her housing, supported her art career, and provided her with the stability she had always dreamed of. He also established a foundation dedicated to supporting struggling artists, inspired by Sarah's resilience and passion. Stanley returned to his life as a billionaire but with a renewed sense of purpose. He frequently visited the streets, ensuring he stayed connected with the people who had changed his life. He continued to support those in need, using his wealth to make a positive impact. Stanley emerged from his journey a changed man. He had found the love he sought and made a lasting impact on the lives of many. Sarah, now thriving, remained a constant reminder of the kindness that had transformed his life. Please like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Thank you.